Well, good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. It is Sunday, March 30th, 2025. On Dr. Don's weather, it is 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we are going to talk about some weather. We did not do a primetime forecast this morning because we're going to be doing live updates all day long today and probably into the wee hours of tomorrow morning as we have a rather significant threat of severe weather across East Alabama and West Georgia. I don't think, and let me say this right off the top, I don't think we're looking at a major tornado outbreak. However, we cannot rule out tornadoes, but we are looking at a pretty significant squall line that's going to move across Alabama and Georgia after midnight tonight into your Monday morning. And along that squall line, we will be looking at a pretty significant threat of damaging straight-line winds in excess of 60 or 70 miles per hour. And we could have some of those small spin-up tornadoes along that squall line where you see those little kinks in the line. We talk about this quite often with these type of setups. So I think that's the main threat that we're looking at. Now, could we have a handful of strong to severe thunderstorms well out in advance of this line of thunderstorms? That's certainly possible, and that's something we're going to be watching for later on this afternoon and into the overnight hours, and then sometime probably after about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning through about 9 or 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, that line of storms will move across East Alabama and West Georgia. I think you're going to probably hear more about tornadoes to the northwest, places like Arkansas, northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, maybe even northwest Alabama could have a singular thunderstorm, a supercell thunderstorm this afternoon and this evening that could produce pretty significant tornadoes. But I don't think that's the setup we're looking at across East Alabama and West Georgia, though I'm not trying to minimize this situation. Certainly could be very dangerous for all of us across East Alabama and West Georgia. I just don't think the tornado environment is going to be quite as conducive across East Alabama and West Georgia as what we're going to see back off to the northwest. So you see the graphic there on the screen. We have now a level 3 out of 5, 3 being a pretty significant risk of severe weather, which covers pretty much all of Alabama and a large area across Georgia as well. And so this is going to be primarily for that main line of storms that we're talking about early tomorrow morning, about the time I think you get ready for school and work, is when the line will be moving through. You see the timing there on the screen after midnight across northwest Alabama, and then after about 4 a.m. through central Alabama, anytime after about 7 a.m. across East Alabama and West Georgia, and then down into southeast Alabama by 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning. Again, we're talking about the threats here being tornadoes, though I think that threat is better to the northwest, damaging winds of up to 60, 70, maybe even 80 miles per hour. Now, folks, understand, wind is wind. It doesn't care where it comes from. It doesn't matter if it comes from a thunderstorm or if it comes from a tornado. 70-mile-per-hour wind is just as destructive if it comes from a thunderstorm versus a tornado. So don't take this lightly simply because we're not talking about a large tornado outbreak here, even though we could have a few spin-up tornadoes as this line moves through. So understand that it's still dangerous. Regardless of how the wind is manifested, we still have to treat this as though it is significant. And then we're also looking at the possibility of some large hail, maybe up to golf ball size hail will be possible with some of these storms. The temperature in the upper levels of the atmosphere is going to be pretty cold as this moves through, so we could see that as well. Have multiple ways to receive severe weather information. Of course, you know what I'm about to say. You can probably all say it with me by now. You gotta have a NOAA weather radio. I preach this every time. We started talking about this severe threat last weekend. Last Sunday and Monday on the primetime forecast, I was telling you that there would be a chance of severe weather in the upcoming weekend. Well, here we are, and we do have a significant threat of severe weather. So I hope that you took the advice throughout the week, and I hope that you now have a NOAA weather radio sitting on that nightstand beside that bed so that you'll get weather alerts. You can program it for your county, and I suggest you program it for a tier of counties to the west, northwest, and southwest of your county so that you get at least one county heads up before it gets to you. But if you don't want to do that, at least program it for the county you live in. If you don't have a NOAA weather radio, hit your box stores today. You got plenty of time all day long. It's Sunday. You're going to church. You're going to go out to eat after church. Go by that local department store, any store that sells electronics, and find a NOAA weather radio. Get you a backup battery to go in it. Come home, follow the instructions. They're very easy to program. As a matter of fact, the latest Midland model will program itself. All you got to do is tell it to do it. So it's really easy to set up. Get that done today. You got to have a NOAA weather radio. Make sure you have multiple other ways of receiving severe weather information. A good app on your phone. Make sure on Facebook you follow, subscribe, and like Dr. Don's Weather. There is a 99-cent per month charge for our subscription on Facebook. And you don't have to do that, but if you would consider doing it, it certainly helps support us here at Dr. Don's Weather. That's less than $12 a year. That way you get notification when we go live to cover severe weather. Also, as a backup, this is called redundancy. You got to go over to YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube account, it's very simple. Takes just seconds to set up an account, and then you're going to want to subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube. That is free. And also make sure you click on notifications and set up those notifications. YouTube works differently than Facebook. YouTube will give you what's called a push notification when we go live to cover severe weather. Over on Facebook, you have to interact with us fairly often to stay so that we stay on your news feed. If you don't, then you may not get that notification that we're live until hours after we go live. I had a text just this morning from someone who was questioning why they're just now seeing a post I made 5 days ago. Unfortunately, that's the way Facebook works. You have to interact with us just about on a daily, if not daily, certainly a weekly basis to keep us at the top of your news feed. Now, for those of you who are Facebook savvy, you can go onto your news feed settings on Facebook and you can prioritize what you see on your news feed, and you can put Dr. Don's Weather at the top of that. That will help ensure that you get timely notification on Facebook, but it's not a guarantee. Facebook has a really complex algorithm that they use, and it is not conducive for severe weather, timely severe weather information. So do everything you can to get us at the top of your news feed. But the absolute best idea is to go to YouTube. You don't have to watch us on YouTube, but go over there and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather and make sure that you set up the notifications. That way, at least you'll get notified on YouTube. You can watch us on Facebook if you want. If you get notified on YouTube, we're live, then just go to your Facebook and search for Dr. Don's Weather and then click the live feed, and you can watch us there. Now, another cool thing about watching us over on YouTube, you can bring us up on that smart TV and watch us on that large screen on your wall. Resolution is phenomenal and looks much, much better on that television versus a tablet or that little bitty phone. Hard to see some of these graphics on your phone. So that's another reason why you need to be watching us over on YouTube on that widescreen smart TV. And then, of course, you want to know where your safe place is. Always the center of the lowest floor at home and at work. Know where that is. Go ahead and pre-identify a room, a closet. You want to put as much between you and the exterior walls of your home on the lowest floor, basement if you have one, that's the best, as you possibly can. In that safe room, you want to have something to cover your head. And we're talking motorcycle helmets, football helmets, batting helmets, bicycle helmets. Those are all fantastic. Most injuries during severe weather events are blunt force trauma from the neck up. That's where most of the injuries occur. So you want to do everything you can to cover your head. Futon mattress, baby bed mattress, cushions off of your couch, pillows, blankets. Those are all good ideas to put in your safe place as well. Make sure that everyone in your home has hard-soled shoes. You want to make sure that you're clothed. You want to make sure that your cell phones stay charged. If you have one of those battery banks, make sure it stays charged and go ahead and put it in your safe room. That way, if you were to get trapped in there and you're there for a long time, you'll have a way of charging your phone so you can continuously call for help. You want to have some way of making a very loud noise. A whistle is the absolute best idea. You can also get one of those cans of compressed air, little horns, to make a loud noise as well. These are all great things. Flashlight. I know you've got a light on your phone, but you don't want to use that if you get into an emergency situation because that's going to drain your battery very quickly. So have a flashlight or two in your safe place and be prepared. And then, of course, and I say this every single time, and every single time we see this happen during severe weather outbreaks, and I am not being critical of mobile homes at all. I've lived in them before and wouldn't have a problem living in them again. Mobile homes are beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. But listen, folks, you got to understand what I'm telling you. A mobile home is not a match for damaging straight line winds, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. Because what happens when we have winds like that? Trees fall. And what happens when a tree falls through a mobile home? And, the last time I made that statement, I got several messages. Well, the same thing's going to happen if it falls through a house. Yes, that may be true, but the damage typically isn't as significant as it is in a mobile home. All right, so you get those 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds that can also topple mobile homes. Typically, that doesn't happen to a house. And then, of course, you have the tornadoes. And you got to get out of a mobile home. I mean, the data's there. I mean, you can't argue with the facts, and the facts are there. Overwhelming majority of fatalities and injuries happen in mobile homes. Happened just this last event that we had. We had several mobile homes across the state of Alabama that were destroyed by tornadoes and severe winds. So what do? The next thing is, well, I don't have anywhere to go. I mean, that's just inconvenient. I can't go anywhere. I have no transportation. There's nowhere for me to go. You got to have a plan for somewhere to go. You got to know somebody. There's somebody that you know within driving distance, and they would probably come get you if you reach out to them, that can come pick you up and take you to a brick and mortar structure during severe weather. Well, when do I do that? The best idea is to do it when you go under a watch. Most of the times when we go into severe weather events, a watch will be issued several hours before severe weather takes place. At the very least, if you're weather savvy, wait until the storms are like 2 counties away. That gives you plenty of time to go ahead and leave that mobile home, go to a friend or family member's brick and mortar home, or find a business that's open 24/7. Go to that department store, go to that restaurant, go somewhere that's open other than your mobile home. Here's the last thing you want to do. Don't get in your automobile when a warning is issued and then try to go to a shelter or a safe place under a warning, whether it's severe thunderstorm or tornado. That puts you out there in an automobile, which, believe it or not, is even worse than being in the mobile home. So don't wait until a warning is issued. It's too late then. So keep all of those tips in mind. They can save lives. I mean, it's frustrating to see every single time we have a severe weather outbreak, people get injured. They lose their lives in weather events. It just doesn't have to happen. 90% of being able to survive severe weather is, number one, being situationally aware. And if you're watching us this morning, you're doing that. So kudos to you. You're already 90% prepared for severe weather. Then the rest of that 10%, knowing where your safe place is, getting severe weather information, and getting out of those mobile homes during times of severe weather. Only about 1% of people across this country, maybe 2%, actually get a direct hit from a tornado that's not survivable regardless of what you do. 90% of you will survive these weather events if you just simply do the things we talk about here on Dr. Don's Weather. All right, let's go to radar because we've got some stuff out there already, though this is not severe. We have got some showers and thunderstorms that have been moving across East Alabama and West Georgia throughout the morning. And you can see there on radar one of those little areas of disturbance moving out of East Alabama up into the western Atlanta metro. And then we have a secondary complex that is forming down around Eufaula and Troy, all the way back down to Dothan. And that's moving off to the northeast as well. And that may clip Lee County, parts of southern Lee County. It's probably going to stay right along and just south of the I-85 corridor. And we will get the telestrator working here. This is pretty much moving in that direction. We do have some smaller storms that are trying to develop right there along the Coosa-Tallapoosa County line that will probably move across northeastern Tallapoosa and then up into Randolph, this complex right here. Now, these are not severe. These are just scattered showers and thunderstorms. As a matter of fact, there's not very much lightning taking place. I mean, just in the last 3 minutes, let me bring this current. Just in the last 3 minutes, we've only seen 7 strokes of, just in the last 3 minutes, we've only seen 7 strokes of lightning. And that encompasses this entire area across East Alabama and West Georgia. So, I mean, that's a very big area. I mean, we're only seeing 6, 7 strokes of lightning in the last 3 minutes. Most of that's down here around Troy. So not a whole lot of lightning involved in this. As we go into the remainder of the afternoon, we get into the heating of the day because, look, we're going to 80 degrees. We're going to 80 degrees this afternoon, so it's going to be quite warm across East Alabama and West Georgia. And some of these storms could get strong and maybe even marginally severe this afternoon, but this is not where the main show is going to be. The main show is going to be probably early tomorrow morning into 7, 8, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning Central. And then just tack an hour onto that if you're over on the eastern side of the time zone. All right, so we're going to leave the radar there for you. I'm going to put it back in motion so you can kind of get an idea of the direction we're talking about here. And we'll pull this down a bit and then go in a little bit closer on our main coverage area. Remember, when I refer to East Alabama and West Georgia, I'm talking about that area south of I-20, north of I-85, and east of I-65 in Alabama and in Georgia, all the way over to Atlanta and back to Birmingham. That's pretty much our coverage area across East Alabama and West Georgia. I'll draw this on the map for you. And this is pretty much the areas that we cover across East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, I'm sorry, Harris County. I didn't mean to leave you out. We'll add Harris County down here. They're one of our primary counties. Now, when we go live to cover severe weather, if we've got tornadoes taking place over here, are we going to cover it? Absolutely we are, especially if we have stuff developing down here around Selma. And why is that? Well, it's because that's typically where our weather comes from. Everything that develops down in Autauga County, Montgomery, Lowndes, Dallas, Bibb, that's typically what ends up in East Alabama and West Georgia. So we're going to talk about severe weather over here in West Alabama. So that's an added bonus to you folks who live over here. And we're going to cover that because, again, that's what typically ends up in East Alabama and West Georgia. And then if we've got life-threatening tornadoes like on the ground anywhere in Alabama or Georgia, we're going to mention them. We may not do wall-to-wall coverage. It just depends on how many we have out there. But we're going to talk about it here on Dr. Don's Weather. And then when we do get into tornado mode, we're going to focus on those tornadoes because that's certainly life-threatening. So if we're not talking about your particular community or your town while we're doing tornado coverage, nothing to worry about. If we're not mentioning the name of your town, you have nothing to worry about. We're not going to ignore a particular location just because we have a tornado going on somewhere else. If there is significant weather happening or about to impact your area, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be calling the name of your town. So I know that last time we had severe weather coverage, we had a ton of whatabouts, even to the point to where Regina Smith now has developed the Dr. Don Whatabout shirt, and they're for sale. All you have to do is go to the top of our news feed on Dr. Don's Weather. There is a pinned link there to carry you over to Regina Smith where you can order your Whatabout shirts. And then make sure you mark your calendars for May 31st at Boondocks in Wedowee. We'll be broadcasting live at Boondocks during our second annual hurricane party. And I want to see some Whatabout shirts at Boondocks on May 31st. So get those shirts ordered. Half the proceeds come back to support us here at Dr. Don's Weather. Your support in our last severe weather event was just phenomenal, folks. Keep it going. All of this is very expensive. There's a lot that goes into doing this. We're even upgrading again. Been working for the last couple of days on putting together that. Hang on a second. We're going to have to do this a little bit differently. Give me a second. I got too much stuff here. I got to find it. Here we go. All right, so theory is, and we won't know exactly how this is going to work until we get something, and we probably will later on today or tonight. But when a watch or a warning is issued, theory is this is going to scroll at the bottom of the screen automatically. So we've been working on setting this up. This has involved a lot of behind-the-scenes coding, a lot of AI involved in this. Pretty cool stuff, though, especially for a guy who knows just enough about it to be dangerous. That would be me. So a lot of trial and error, but we've been working on this, getting this set up. And so far, we are getting the data straight from the National Weather Service. This updates every 15 seconds. This is kind of like the EAS that you see scroll across the bottom of the screen on television. Theory is the same here for our live stream on Dr. Don's Weather. So we've been working on that. There are several other things that we're working on. And your support makes all of this possible so that we can increase our capabilities to keep you safe during times of severe weather. So please continue supporting us. All right, let me go over here to the chat room. See if anybody has any questions. Hey, Billy Smith. Billy says he's got his What About shirt. He said, hey, what about us? Thank you, Robert. Ashley, I was just showing you the area that we typically watch for severe weather for East Alabama, back toward Clanton, Prattville, Selma. That's where the weather typically develops that eventually will move up into East Alabama. There's no severe weather out there right now. And I don't expect anything severe this morning. Could we see a handful of strong storms this afternoon? Yes. But the best window of opportunity will open just before daylight tomorrow morning and continue through about mid-morning. Nothing out there right now. All right, Kayla. Let's see here. No, wrong one. No. There it is. Kayla trying to get me going this morning. Hey, Pat Smith in Roanoke. Good morning, Austin. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you guys. I mean, seriously, without you guys, this wouldn't work, obviously. And you guys can be heroes, just like anybody else during times of severe weather. And you can do that by getting the word out there. I mean, every single person watching me this morning needs to share this with all of your friends on Facebook and ask them to share with their friends. Again, I know I harp on this, and I sound like a broken record, but it is the absolute truth. 90% of surviving severe weather is being aware. That's the deal, folks. And it's pretty simple, actually, being situationally aware. And you can play a part in this by sharing this with all of your friends on Facebook and asking them to share with their friends. Also, the same thing over on YouTube. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you, Tamika. Oh, H. Marty, I hope that was just a bad nightmare. Good morning, Bernard. Shannon watching us over in Valley, Alabama. Thank you, Cassandra. Oh, no, Paige. Paige is watching us from Roanoke already with no power. I hope they get that fixed soon. Thank you, Zelda. Eddie's watching us in Wadawi. Miss Deborah, good to see you in here this morning. Watching us from Knoxville, Tennessee. Well, it's like I said a few minutes ago, Deborah, if we have a life-threatening situation going on anywhere across the Southeast, and it's not happening at the moment in our primary coverage area, then you're likely going to hear about it here on Dr. Don's Weather. I see you up there in Knoxville. Hey, Larry. Larry says he hopes he doesn't have to spend the night with me again. I snore, don't I? That's funny. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for your support. Good morning, Charlotte. Hey, Pamela in Opelika. Hey, Billy, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Kelly, can't find the pin. It's at the top of the page here. Let me, hang on. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go take a look. Yeah. Go to the top of Dr. Don's weather page now, not my personal page. You got to go to Dr. Don's weather. And let me see if I can take this live right quick. There we go. Go to Dr. Don's weather. And there it is right there. And all you got to do is click on it, and that'll take you over to Regina Smith's page where you can send her a message and tell her what size you want, whether you want a male or a female, and then she'll coordinate with you. So that's at the top of Dr. Don's weather page. Alan's watching us over in Lineville, Alabama. Hannah just joined us, and she's wanting to know what the weather looks like for tomorrow around LaGrange. Stormy tomorrow morning. We'll have a line of thunderstorms that'll move into West Georgia, East Alabama, and West Georgia sometime after about daybreak tomorrow morning. And then it'll move across the area through mid-morning tomorrow morning. Now, we could have a few strong storms this afternoon in the heat of the day, well in advance of that main line. But the risk, the level 3 risk that we now have for East Alabama and West Georgia is primarily for early tomorrow morning, though a handful of strong storms are certainly possible this afternoon. Teresa's watching us in Roanoke. It's about time I make another trip up toward Knoxville. I was up there a couple of years ago. I actually came up there and picked up a vehicle. But it's about time for us to hit Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge again. Okay, thank you, Roxstan. I will take a look at that and add that to my list of weather stations that we keep up with. I just got a offline message from the Roxstan Volunteer Fire Department advising me about their weather station. And speaking of fire departments, thank you, A&M Volunteer Fire Department. Folks, they support Dr. Don's weather. They sent us a donation after the last event, and we greatly appreciated A&M Volunteer Fire Department. You guys rock. All right, calm down. That's enough. Hey, Dawn in Lineville. Good morning, Jesse's mom in Lafayette. Tammy Hall, what's it looking like? Y'all just changing it. Instead of saying what about, y'all now saying what's it looking like? It's the same thing. But look, I know some of you are just now joining. You didn't hear the first part. So about every 15 minutes, I'll go over what we're thinking is going to happen. It looks stormy for Opelika. Potentially some scattered storms this afternoon, and then the main line will move through early tomorrow morning. Danny, watching us from Ashland. Virginia update. Well, that's not really in our coverage area. But I'll tell you that this stuff will move through Alabama and Georgia tonight and tomorrow morning, up into the Carolinas by tomorrow night, and then probably into Virginia sometime during the day on Tuesday. I'm not real sure to what severity level we're looking at for Virginia. I have not looked at that. But I would say your time frame will be more like Tuesday afternoon. Speaking of the Carolinas, boy, they need the rain that may be coming with this. You know, you got the Table Rock fire, North Carolina, and in South Carolina. North Carolina now has a fire. East Tennessee has a fire. We have a pretty good-sized fire going in northeast Georgia as well, up in Rabun County. So this rain will be very welcome all across the southeastern United States. Hey, Colby. Shorter, Alabama in the house. Hey, Ray. Thank you, Tammy. Goodwater, Alabama. There's Caitlin. David says, good morning from Heard County, Georgia. Do I think it's going to be anything like last time? Well, yeah, so that's hard to answer. If it hits in your front yard for you, yes, it will be. Overall, I don't think we're looking at as much widespread opportunities for severe weather. But again, if it happens in your front yard, it only takes one. Anytime there's a level 2, level 3, or higher risk, you got to pay attention to it and prepare just as hard as you did the last time, because there's always that chance. Am I telling you it's going to happen at your house? Absolutely not. Most of you probably won't deal with severe weather, but that doesn't mean you don't need to prepare. Because, again, if we only have one severe thunderstorm or one tornado and it happens in your front yard, April, then it's the most significant weather event you have ever dealt with. That's the way you have to look at this. Thank you, Martha. Yeah, ain't that the truth, Ricky? Yeah, Ricky says he's thankful for the air cleaning that's about to happen. And for some of you already is happening. Washing that pollen away. Good morning, Francine from East Alabama. Randy McGill watching us from Seattle. Good morning, Randy. Teresa's watching us from LaGrange. All right, let me show you the graphic, and we'll kind of recap what we're thinking is going to happen here. Here's the latest from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. This is coordinated with the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma. And this is what we're thinking here. Across Alabama, we have two risk levels. We have a level 2 risk, which is up in extreme northeast Alabama, and then we have that level 3 that covers the rest of the state and a large piece of Georgia. And this is from 1 a.m. tomorrow morning through 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Now, this is confusing, so stay with me. Does that mean it's going to storm the entire time between 1 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon? The answer is absolutely not. That means that the storms are expected in northwest Alabama around 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then that line, as it moves across the state, will make it into southeast Alabama by 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So if you'll look to the right, you'll see the timing for each part of the state. Folks, this is why it's imperative that you understand where you are on a map. You should be able to just glance at this, pick out your county, and determine at what time you need to be concerned as we go into this event on Monday without anybody explaining it to you. You should be able to do that very easily. So you look over there in East Alabama. That's over there to the right. Let me get a telestrator going here. Oh, we're finna go to art class. I feel it coming on. All right, so I got to get my eyes set up here where I can see what I'm doing. All right, so that's pretty much, that pretty much covers East Alabama right there. So the extreme western sections of East Alabama, we're talking about Talladega, Coosa. The line of storms should start moving into Talladega, maybe Calhoun, western Talladega, western Coosa, around or sometime shortly after 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then as it moves on over to the east, we're talking into Clay, Randolph, Tallapoosa County, maybe, by 7, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then down into the Auburn-Opelika area, LaGrange, maybe 10, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that's kind of the timing on all of this. Now, that's just a window of opportunity. That doesn't mean it's going to storm the entire time. And then, of course, you see the threat levels over there on the right. I know tornado is one of the threats, and there certainly is that possibility of a tornado or two. But this is not going to be a major tornado outbreak, I don't think. I think the bigger threat for East Alabama and West Georgia is going to be the damaging straight-line winds. But again, folks, don't get caught up in that. It doesn't matter if the wind comes from a tornado or a severe thunderstorm. Damage is damage, wind is wind. It doesn't care where it comes from, whether it's a tornado or a severe thunderstorm. Yeah, I see it all the time, you know, when the Storm Prediction Center says there's a very, very small chance of tornadoes. This is going to be more of a damaging straight-line wind event, 70-mile-per-hour plus winds. And folks go, oh, it's just thunderstorms. And they carry on about their business, and then they forget about it, and they pay no attention to it whatsoever. They have no idea that a dangerous thunderstorm is moving in their direction. They stay in the mobile homes. They're outside at the ball field. They go fishing, and they get out there on the lake, and then, boom, it hits, and you got a problem. Don't let the difference between severe thunderstorms and tornadoes be your threshold of weather aware. Don't fall into that. It doesn't matter whether it's severe thunderstorms or tornadoes or the possibility of both, and that's what we're looking at here. Possibility of both, though I think severe thunderstorms will be more prevalent. Pay attention to it. Anytime we go level 2, 3, or higher, you got to pay attention to it. Slight risk, moderate risk, high risk, anything above marginal. Even if we're under a marginal risk, which is a 1 out of 5, you need to be weather aware. And then as we increase those levels, your awareness needs to heighten. Get up in level 2, level 3, that's becoming pretty significant. Pollen's got me going up here too, folks. So that's the threat risk right there. Have multiple ways to get severe weather information. You know what I'm going to say. Get that NOAA weather radio. People ask me all the time, well, what kind should I get? There's several different models out there. Midland is the Cadillac of weather radios. So you need to get the latest model from Midland. You can get them on Amazon. You can go to that local box store that sells electronics. Any place that sells electronics should have them. And this happens all the time We wait until we start to see a significant weather event on the way, and everybody runs out there and buys up the complete supply of weather radios, and a lot of you get left without having one. And then after the severe weather threat's over with, you forget about it. I'm not going to go spend $35, $40 right now because there's no threat of severe weather. And then that cycle repeats itself. You wait until there are none in the stores, and you go out there and you try to find one the day before or the day of, and you can't find one. Everybody sells out. Severe threat's over. You forget about it, and here we go again. And I'm specifically speaking to my daughter. Guess what she's getting for Christmas, if not sooner? Actually, she's about to move to Arizona. Not really sure they have tornadoes in Yuma, Arizona. Dust storms, yes. So get that NOAA weather radio. Make sure you have a good app on your phone. When I say good app, there are tons of them out there. Just make sure that your app follows you. So if you live in Roanoke, Alabama, you're in Randolph County, watches and warnings are issued by county from the National Weather Service. So if you live in Roanoke and you're going to be over in Ashland this afternoon, you want to make sure that app is going to follow you so that it knows you're in Clay County now instead of Randolph. So if a warning is issued for Clay County, it's going to alert you. And that's all part of the settings of that app. And most of them do that nowadays. They will follow you. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be in, Chicago, Illinois, and some type of warning, like a high wind warning, is issued for Chicago. You're going to get it on your phone. Now, understand your phone comes when you get your brand new phone. When you get a brand new phone, WIA alerts are already turned on your phone. That's not an app. That is part of your emergency alert notifications on your phone. That's where the Amber Alerts come from. The problem we have is a lot of folks go in and turn that off because of the Amber Alerts, which in my opinion is greatly abused. I think they have ruined the concept behind Amber Alerts because they send those Amber Alerts at 2 a.m. statewide. I understand why, but you cry wolf, and eventually folks are not going to pay attention to it. They're going to turn it off, and that's what's happened. So as part of that, that's called WIA, Wireless Emergency Alerts. As part of that, you also get tornado warnings, flood warnings, and you also get severe thunderstorm warnings with possible tornadoes. That's all you're going to get, though. And if you've turned it off, you're not going to get those. So if you know who you are if you've turned it off, because you have to dig a little bit to find it. So if you've turned it off, go back in there and turn it back on, at least to get through this event. Then you can cut it back off if you so wish. So that's going to happen. But what it's not going to give you, boy, coffee just tastes better than a Dr. Don coffee cup. And you can go to our weather store to get one of those. So what you're not going to get on your WIA alerts are tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches and regular severe thunderstorm warnings. That's why you got to have a good app on your phone along with your WIA alerts. And now you've got a redundant, and you've got your NOAA weather radio. Now you really got 3 different ways to get a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning with a possible tornado tag or a flood warning. So that's called redundancy. That's what we're talking about when we say have multiple different ways of receiving severe weather information. Know where your safe place is. And it's not in your mobile home. You got to have a plan to go somewhere safe in the event that a tornado or severe thunderstorm watch is issued for your area. That's the plan. Don't wait until a warning is issued. It's too late. Then you get in your automobile and you're caught out in the storm, and that's even a worse place than a mobile home. You have a place to go. Lots of folks are opening shelters nowadays, pre-storm shelters. That's something that typically hasn't been done in the past, but that's becoming a thing. We saw it the last couple of times we had severe weather. Check with your local jurisdiction, see what shelters are available. You do that during blue sky days. That's called formulating your plan. You arrange for transportation to get you to that shelter, and then you go to that shelter when a watch is issued, not warning. Typically, warnings are good for about 15, 20 minutes in advance of a storm. That's not enough time. Don't risk it. You want to go when a watch is issued. Or if you're really weather savvy, it would be permissible to wait until the storms are within a couple of counties of your county. But if you can't read a map, if you don't understand north, south, east, or west, if you don't know how to look at a radar, if you don't know how to understand where you are on a map, forget everything I just said and go when a watch is issued for your area. And, of course, the safest place in your home is the center of the lowest floor. Basement is always best. And you want to find a safe room in the center of the lowest floor, whether it be a closet, bathroom, something that puts as much between you and the exterior wall of your home as you possibly can. Typically, the center of a home is what survives, while the exterior walls do not. Basement, of course, is always the best option if you have that. In that safe room, you want to have, number one, you want to make sure everybody in your family understands where it's at. Actually practice it. Do a drill. See how long it takes. Send your family on about their way inside your house. Send little Johnny up to the third story to play his Xbox. Let Susie go to her room and get on her telephone and start doing her chatting. Mom's in the kitchen cooking. Dad's on the couch asleep, which is the way it normally works. And then have somebody holler tornado warning. Now, this sounds silly, but folks, really it isn't. You'd be surprised. Holler tornado warning. Everybody runs to the center of the house, gets in that safe room, puts on their helmets. See how long it takes you to do that. If it takes more than a couple of minutes, then you need to do it again and again and again until you can get everybody in that safe room within, 1 to 2 minutes or so. Dad may not be on the couch. Dad's probably standing on the front porch with his phone. Where's that nader? Let me get a picture of it. Don't do that. Practice your tornado drill. Make sure your entire family understands. And throw different scenarios out there. Let's say that part of the family's at home and maybe the kids or one or two of the kids, the older kids, are over at their best friend's house or at the movies or out doing something. How are you going to manage that? Are you going to call them and make sure they understand what's going on and find out exactly where they are and talk them through going to a safe place as you're going to your safe place? That's the best idea. They don't need to try to come back home. They need to get out of that automobile. If they're at the mall, well, I guess people don't do that much anymore. If they're at a friend's house, then they need to go to the center of that friend, on the lowest floor of that friend's house. They don't need to try to get in their car and come home to you. Last thing you want to do is encourage someone to get on the road in an automobile. That's the absolute worst place. It'll kill you. Don't get in an automobile. That's why you got to be weather aware. You got to understand what's happening. You got to know where the storms are, how long it's going to be before they get to your area, and your plan has to be in place before those storms get there. We watched the Joplin tornado documentary yesterday. We do weird stuff like that in our household. And I was, of course, that happened in 2011. And I was an absolute nervous wreck watching that documentary yesterday because so many people lost their lives in that horrible tornado that totally destroyed Joplin, Missouri. And you can say the same thing about Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You can say the same thing about Noonan, Georgia. You can say the same thing about any town that's been devastated by a tornado. It was so frustrating to sit there and watch the number of people who drove into the tornado itself. It was rain-wrapped. It was hard to see. But they literally drove their 18-wheelers, their cars, their trucks into that tornado and died. A group of teenagers. Tornado just sucked him through the sunroof. They didn't find his body until days later. That kind of stuff does not have to happen if you're weather aware. You understand what's going on. Well, I got to go to the store. No, you don't. Well, it's my job. I've got to drive. I'm transporting goods on this 18-wheeler. If I told you were going to drive into a tornado and it was going to kill you, would you have to do it then? The answer is no. Well, good Lord, he's got me. When it's my time, it's my time. It doesn't matter. That one really gets me going. I agree with your faith 100%. No question about that. Glory to God. I'm with you. But he gave you what? He gave you a brain. And what does the brain give you the ability to do? Well, most of you. Gives you the ability to think. Use your brain during severe weather. Understand what's going on around you. If you're traveling from Montgomery to Atlanta, and you're just south of the Auburn exit, and you're looking north, and there's this big, huge black cloud, off to your left, maybe about 10 o'clock to your left. And it appears to be moving from your left to your right. It's going to cross over the interstate. Let me see. Let me go to the National Weather Service website right quick and see. Oh, my goodness. Lee County is under a warning. I'm not going to say it because somebody will misunderstand what I'm saying. Lee County's under a so-and-so. I got to seek shelter right now. Or my phone has gone off because I have an app that's following me with that warning. So I get off the interstate and go to a restaurant, a gas station, a rest stop somewhere and get out of that 18-wheeler or that SUV or that car. Now I'm safe. It passes over. You can carry on about your business. Or I can be totally oblivious to what's going on around me and I can drive right into it and I can risk losing my life. That happened. And it continues to happen till this day. And with technology the way it is, it doesn't have to happen. That's the frustrating part about all of this. You got to be situationally aware. You can't wait for somebody else to. That's not anyone's responsibility but yours. You have to take personal responsibility and be weather aware. Understand what's going on around you to protect yourself and your family. If you do that, then especially you folks with weather anxiety, you can let that go. If you do all the things I've been talking about and you suffer from weather anxiety, it's a real thing. A lot of you that watch us on Dr. Don's Weather suffer from weather anxiety. I understand. It's a real thing. But if you do all the things I've been talking about this morning, you can let that go. You can say, be gone. Let it out. Don't be scared. Don't be worried. Don't let your anxiety level work you into a panic attack. And I've had several of those folks. And I'm glad to work with you and give you that calm voice and tell you where the storms are and help you through it. That's part of what we do. and we do a little weather 101 along the way. But if you do those things I'm talking about this morning, they're very simple. They don't cost you hardly anything. Maybe $40 for a weather radio. But what's $40 to keep your anxiety level in check? Those are some things you can do to help you get through severe weather. It was, Marty, that was, I literally had gotten up on the couch and was sitting on my feet, and I couldn't stand it. If you haven't seen the documentary on the Joplin tornado, you need to go find it. If you have not watched that, you need to go find it and watch it, because that is a prime example. What was the death toll? 161, I think it was. That is a prime example of what can and unfortunately still to this day happens during severe weather. I've actually been to Ground Zero in Joplin. Pretty amazing. If you're ever in that area, southwest area of Missouri, I highly suggest you take a couple of hours and go to their memorial park that they have set up there in Joplin and visit it. I mean, it's just, it is something to see. And you need to watch the Joplin, Missouri documentary if you haven't already. If you have watched it and it's been a minute, go watch it again. There are a certain number of people that are adrenaline junkies, storm chasers that get caught up in severe weather, but the overwhelming majority of them are folks who absolutely have no clue what's going on around them. They don't have apps on their phones. They're not listening to the radio. They're listening to their, iTunes or whatever it is, iHeartRadio, that's all automated stuff that doesn't give you local severe weather information. That's another problem. In the world we live in now, where we have we can get anything we want anytime we want it, and we want to do it live. We don't listen to local radio or local television. This thing right here is what we watch and listen to. And those annoying Amber Alerts that don't even relate to me have caused me to turn my WIA alerts off on my phone. So I'm in my automobile driving down the interstate. I get no notification. I'm listening to XM radio or listening to songs on my phone, and I get no notification whatsoever that I'm driving into a tornado. That's what's happening. So it's on you to make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure, and also, let me add to this. Y'all done got me off on a soapbox. Good gracious. Also, what's happening, a lot of local radio stations are automated nowadays, meaning that they don't have a live disc jockey sitting in front of a control board watching the weather and giving you life-saving information. So you've lost that local connection to the community. You may hear someone on there talking, but those are voice tracks. That was recorded the day before. That's the way that works. I know. I used to do it. Or it's a syndicated voice track. This dude may be in California on your radio station in Auburn, Alabama. That happens too. They're not live local people in the studio watching weather for you. So you take that, and then you take all the social media, music and podcast and all that stuff that's not live. And so you don't have, like it used to be back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even into the 2000s, you had live disc jockeys at radio stations. I was one of them. Watching a radar screen. I was one of them. That's why I do what I do now for East Alabama and West Georgia. Spent 22 years doing that in Roanoke, Alabama, and LaGrange, Georgia, and all the areas there in the area. That's why I'm successful in doing what I'm doing now. You folks know me from those days. You don't see that anymore, and especially across East Alabama and West Georgia. There are very few stations that do live weather coverage, and you have almost zero live weather television coverage, simply because you're a rural county in East Alabama and West Georgia. Atlanta and Birmingham's not going to watch you. Columbus does some, but that's mostly the southern half of our coverage area. So that's why we do what we do. But you have to take personal responsibility and make sure you're getting that information. It's not as easy to get it as it used to be. And that sounds weird because in today's modern technology, everything's easier. But there's a wall between you and that information. You got to go climb over that wall to get it. It's not going to just, boom, pop up in front of your face. You got to go look for it and be situationally aware, weather aware. Well, Marty, that's the year I left Alabama and moved to Georgia. So you missed it. You used to have it. We used to cover you wall to wall across East Alabama and West Georgia. But, hey, I'm back. We're doing it now. We're doing it on social media. Very good idea, Deborah. NOAA Weather Radios. That sounds geekish. I get it. Guess what all my kids are getting for Christmas this year or sooner? NOAA Weather Radios are awesome. Regroup. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Angie. That is fantastic. I'm glad you brought that up. If you live in Randolph County, you got to go and sign up for Regroup. You're going to get weather information. You're going to get the alerts. You're going to get local information. And I don't care where you live and you're watching us this morning. Odds are good your county, your local jurisdiction, whether it's on the county level or a municipality level, probably has a mass notification system. Most jurisdictions do nowadays. Go to your local county website, emergency management website, and if your local jurisdiction has a mass notification system, sign up for it, because not only is that going to get you the emergency alerts for weather, it's also going to give you good local information about, streets that are closed, flooding that may be taking place, areas that are damaged, evacuations. We've almost had to do some evacuating up here in northeast Georgia because of all the wildfires over the last couple of weeks. And that, we use Code Red, but there's Code Red, there's Regroup. There are multiple different mass notification systems out there. But we've almost had to pull the trigger on sending out mass notifications because of wildfires. So that's a very, very good idea. Angie, thank you for reminding me of that. Thank you, Brandon. Look at Adam. And all the people said, amen. That was your Sunday morning service from Dr. Don's Weather. I do. I know. I get passionate about it. It's just so frustrating. Kingston, Tennessee in the house. Hey, Overbuilt Automotive. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate those kind words. Yeah, eBay's a good option too. I have seen Amazon sell out multiple times because the same thing happens on Amazon. Motorola has a hard time. I'm not Motorola. Midland has a hard time keeping up with supply and demand because that's what happens. During blue sky days, folks stop buying them. And then when there's a threat of severe weather for a particular part of the country, everybody runs out and buys up all of the supply. They jump on Amazon, buy up all of the supply, and then Midland has to go back into production, mass production, and it'll take them a week or two to get things produced and get them shipped and in stores, and then everybody stops buying them. So now we have an abundance of NOAA weather radios sitting on shelves everywhere. Then here comes another severe weather threat. Everybody runs out, buys up all the radios, gets on Amazon, orders up all the radios, and Midland has to go into high production again, and that cycle continues. So the best idea is to get if you can't find one, you need one today. But if you can't find one today, keep checking every single day for the next 2 weeks until they come back in stock, and then get you one during that blue sky day instead of waiting until there is a severe weather threat. That's the wrong time to try to get one because they're probably all gone. But it's certainly worth checking to see if you can find one today. eBay, Amazon, good options. Online yard sales. You never know, you might find one. But if you buy one used like that from an individual, turn it on. Make sure it is working. Okay, we've been going for an hour and 12 minutes. That concludes our Sunday morning service here on Dr. Don's Weather. We got to make it to the restaurant before the Baptists get there, so we're going to wrap this up. I'm just kidding with you folks. Got to have a little fun along the way when we're dealing with something as serious as severe weather. And I'm in public safety, and I just got to tell you, folks in public safety have a weird sense of humor. You just about have to be able to deal with what we deal with on a daily basis. So you hear me cracking a joke every now and then. It's all in fun. This is severe weather is very serious, and we take it serious. And you guys know that. You've made comments. I've heard from you that last significant event on March 15th, when we started getting those tornadoes that were threatening East Alabama and West Georgia, my tone changed, my demeanor changed, my level of tolerance level changed, to say the least. And I don't mean anything by that. It's just it gets serious when that happens. So let's take a look at the radar right quick. We're going to wrap this up for now because we're probably going to be together multiple times throughout the remainder of today and then into tomorrow morning. And yes, I will be here with live wall-to-wall coverage through this entire event. I always tell you this, and I don't want you to lose sight of it. Those of you who know me understand I'm an emergency manager in Northeast Georgia, particularly in White County, Georgia, the same where Helen, Georgia is, and Dahlonega, Georgia. That's the area I'm in. So I'm with you until I can't be with you because I have local responsibilities for my daytime job. So I'm here with you. I'm on PTO in the morning. I'm here with you until I can't be with you. If we have a line of severe storms, and sometimes it lines up so that it moves right across the county I live in Northeast Georgia and East Alabama and West Georgia at the same time. That has happened a time or two. If that were to happen in the morning, I'm with you until I can't be with you, meaning that once the storms start threatening my county, I'm done. I have to get off. I have to stop coverage because I have local duties I have to assume. And that'll be the case tomorrow morning. Hopefully the storms, if we have severe weather at all, hopefully we don't. But if we do, and we have severe threatening East Alabama, hopefully it won't be that severe up here, and I can stay with you through the entire event. But nonetheless, always I'm very transparent about that. I don't want you guys to think that I'm carrying you right up to the doorstep and then I'm going to drop you and run. That's not what I do. But you have to understand, I do have daytime duties Monday through Friday, even on weekends when it comes to weather, that I have to tend to. and that'll be the case tomorrow morning. Looking at the radar right now, there's nothing much out there of any, there's nothing out there of any concern. We've got some moderate to heavy showers moving up into southern and southeastern Lee County, up into the Columbus area. Also, that'll be moving right across southern Harris County, should stay well south of Troop, should stay well south of the Auburn-Opelika area. Then a few showers that are working through the middle part of Clay. These are very small in nature. They're not severe. They're not expected to go severe. Any storms that move across East Alabama and West Georgia today into the afternoon will need to be watched, but at the moment, none of them are severe or showing signs of going severe. Now, excuse me, I will bring your attention to some convection that's blowing up over in and around Meridian, Mississippi, that will move off in this direction. We will watch that as we go throughout the afternoon, because the heating of the day is taking place now. We're expected to hit 80 degrees this afternoon. So it's going to be extremely warm across East Alabama and West Georgia, even with the cloud coverage or the filtered sun that we have out there now. Temperatures are going to soar up into the 80s. So like this complex coming through Meridian, we're going to keep an eye on that as it moves through West Alabama, and it very well could end up over in East Alabama later on this afternoon. And we could see a few of these storms become strong or even marginally severe this afternoon. But understand, that's not the main show. The main show will come tomorrow morning from about daybreak through mid-morning, with a line of thunderstorms that primarily will involve damaging straight-line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and perhaps a few small spin-up tornadoes. That will be the greatest threat for tomorrow morning. So we are going to wrap things up for now. And I'm going to continue to monitor this throughout the remainder of the day. And if there are any significant changes, or if we start to see storms that have the potential of going severe, then I'll come right back and we'll continue with our live coverage. I certainly hope that you will consider supporting us here on Dr. Don's Weather. If you'll go over to Dr. Don's Weather on Facebook, and there's a whole list of different ways that you can support us. That's been scrolling here in the chat room as well. The quickest, safest, and best way to support us is going to PayPal, drdon.com/donate/PayPal is the best way to support Dr. Don's Weather, but you can do it in multiple different ways. We've got Venmo, Cash App. You can do the Facebook stars. You can go over to our weather merchandise store, pick up a T-shirt, a coffee cup. You can also pick up a Dr. Don What About shirt from Regina Smith. That link is pinned at the top of Dr. Don's Weather. You can go over there and click on it. Send Regina a message. Tell her what size and whether you want male or female, and she'll respond to you and set that up. Half of those proceeds come back to support us here on Dr. Don's Weather. I hope that you'll enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Again, we're monitoring, and we'll be back as necessary with live coverage here on Dr. Don's Weather.